So we do have an agenda. The first thing on our agenda is to elect a committee chair. Currently, I'm the committee chair. Just because the ability of me to always get to this meeting on time are highly dubious, as I work in Cedar Rapids and have a contract that keeps me there to certain hours. I'm no longer going to be the chair of this committee. I have a nomination, but I would take any other nominations from the floor. Here again, I would nominate Molly Abraham to be the new chair of the education.
I second that.
They told you it was just going to be 2 meetings a month, right, Mom?
Right,
One.
No.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right,
Great
Molly-
choice. Do it right now.
Yeah. If you pull up the agenda on your phone,
Here, just,
Here, I printed it out.
just approve
print
it.
it out for me.
Thank you. Okay,
All you need to do is approve.
yeah, okay. You want to make a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting on May 17th?
I move we approve the minutes.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And now we're going to move on to Carmen. Well, I don't know who's going to do this, the Grow Your Own program.
We got just a couple quick openers, so just say thank you to the team and students that are here with us today. Chase is going to share a couple data points that reinforces why this arm of our Grow Your Own program is so important. Remember, it's one of the 3 elements of our program, and so we're excited to have you chat a little bit with the students tonight and for them to share kind of what Educators Rising is all about and what they've been working on, and super thankful to Carmen and Eric for their work on this too. So go ahead, Chase.
Thanks, Matt, and echo what Matt just said. Big thanks to Carmen for her leadership, and Eric and Brady for the work and the belief in this, and it is the right work. And I never miss an opportunity to talk about this. You all know that I love to talk about Grow Your Own, and specifically this part of the plan. And one of the things we talked about before is that with the decline of teacher applicants or applicants to teacher prep programs down by 33% over the last 10 years, we have to find new ways to bring in talent to the organization. But what we're also learning is that of teacher grads, 75% of them go back to the communities where they grow up to teach. And so this idea that we can attract and recruit talent from across the nation to come to Iowa City is kind of a fool's errand, and the data is showing it says this. So putting our resources in growing our homegrown talent is really where we should spend our time and energy, and Carmen and Eric have done a fantastic job of getting this off the ground. And so just thank you again to the board's support for this effort, because it's the right work, and it's the right work for the right reasons as we look to recruit highly effective teachers and also a diverse cadre of teachers that reflects our student population. And I could talk all night. This isn't my night. This is Carmen and the team's night to talk about Educators Rising. Carmen.
And I'm going to try and buy some time because there's like 2 more students showing up with another teacher from West High. So hopefully, if I talk a little bit longer, they'll get here.
Let me know if you need help.
But we do have Michelle Curry, and we do have our 2 students who were with us yesterday from Liberty. And so yesterday was the first conference for the Grown. It was a big debut conference. This was amazing, in my opinion. I think the kids we had 22 students who showed up, who were excited to be teachers in our district, and talked about the different pathways that they're considering between elementary and secondary, and some want to go into university. So far we have about 57 students that have signed up and registered for the program for this year. And you'll still see on social media, we're still really promoting it more to see if there's more students who will be interested in signing up. So part of that promotion is we're reaching out to current admins and teachers in our district who were students and who have gone through the district as students who are now working in the districts. And we're doing this promotion of reaching out to each of them. So Eliza had her debut, so did Kim Fitton, and Maureen Head at West. And so some of them will be on there, and I think about every week Kristen's going to kind of throw out another person so you can get to see another person in the district who was a student that went through and now is a credit teacher or an admin or a director in our district. So that's part of it. And we'll have a link to students for the program through there. But like I said, right now we have 57 students in the district who are signed up for it and hoping for more. We are working on our next steps is really working on getting the students in their groups, in their cohorts, and building these cohorts. And so starting second trimester, the students would be assigned to each of their sponsor teachers' rooms. And so we have a sponsor teacher at every building. Michelle is a teacher at Tate, and then you'll see Monica, who will be the teacher at West. We have Maria Angelo, who's the teacher at City High, and Maya Eccles is the teacher here at Liberty for our students. And so during their intervention block time is when the students will be assigned to that teacher's room, and they'll meet with their teacher weekly, obviously, every day, but 1 to 2 days a week will be assigned for the ground curriculum. So instead of purchasing the actual curriculum from Educators Rising, the curriculum for Educators Rising was $12,000 per building. And so we looked at the cost and we decided to not purchase the curriculum, but we looked at the contents within the curriculum. And we're working with the University of Iowa, with our aspiring educators with the University of Iowa, and they're building the curriculum for us. And so we're able to get some grants from NEA. And Amira Nash, who used to be a teacher in the district and currently working at the University of Iowa, she's on our team through the College of Education, also working in collaboration with Will Behrens from the Baker Teacher Leader Center. And so they're helping us build the curriculum through grants, so we don't have to fund it out of pocket. And that's what we're going to be using in the classrooms for the students who will be doing the curriculum with Educators Rising with their teachers. And so that'll all be ready to go for the teachers. It'll be through PowerPoints. We're also working on getting the students some exposure to different colleges and college of ed programs. So we're planning on some college trips so students can get to see, yay, I talked enough. So students can get to see some college of ed programs throughout. And working also with, like I said, with Will Behrens to provide some workshops for the students. Some workshop experiences for the students to learn just different things as far as like embracing the passion of teaching. But then also through those workshops, we'll be going through helping them apply for scholarships for when they're ready for college, learning to do all the different steps of what they have to do to get ready for college, exploring where they want to go to teach, what they want to teach in, connecting them with mentors. So not only connecting with the educators, with aspiring educators from the University of Iowa as their mentors, because we have 22 students in the Aspiring Educators program that will work with our students as mentors, but also connecting them to teachers in our district who could also mentor them based on where they want to teach. And so, for example, may I want to go into science, and so trying to find a teacher who's like a passionate teacher for science who will also be able to mentor through that process and kind of talk about what that looks like. We're in partnership with the Kirkwood Workplace Learning Connection to work for internships for the students and job shadows. And so also being intentional there, learning where we can place them so they can have those experiences. But then also reaching out to different elementary schools and junior high schools, just open spaces for students to be able to come in and just do either like partner reading if they want to do that with students, or just to be in the classroom as a TA for short periods of time, but giving them exposures to that spaces so they can just still continue with that passion to grow and learn as teachers. And so those were the big pieces. As far as funding is concerned, right now we're working with Susan Brennan through the foundation, who's helping us with some funding to fund transportation to and from workshops if we have to, and then also to fund the cost for Educators Rising for their membership. So it's $10 per student, and so we're trying to cover that cost so students don't have to pay for the membership fee to be part of the Educators Rising program. And so Susan's looking into different grants for us to provide some funding for that. And then also some funding for the national conference, so students would have a chance to compete. They can be national representatives through our school. We're the only Educators Rising group in the state of Iowa right now. So because we have nobody to compete against in the state, we have a shoe-in into some conferences if we choose to compete at the conferences. So the way we're working around that is to provide the students the ability to still learn and practice those competition skills. They will compete against each other. And so we'll have the students in some of those workshops present for them to compete against each other, just to kind of practice and grow in that space. But then they will have the opportunity to go to Orlando this year for the national conference, and that's in June. And so we're also looking at some funding to be able to get a couple of students who are interested in going, and how we can fund that trip for the students. And so Susan's helping us with all of that right now. And then we'll explore other avenues. Right now we're just looking at other grants avenues for, so the goal is to make sure that the students don't have to fund any of this as much as possible. So we're trying to do that for them. And then, I think that's pretty much it on my end. I'm gonna leave it open for the teachers and the students to kind of talk about what they experience, I guess, through as coaches for the program, and the students to talk about their experience of why they want to be teachers in the district or part of Educators Rising. All right, the floor is yours. So this is Monica, the teacher sponsor from West, and you guys met Michelle. And we have our two students from Liberty and our students from West. You want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. The reason why I joined the teacher at Rising is because I want to be an ELL student. I'm in the ELL teacher for elementary kids because growing up I never had a Spanish teacher that I could communicate and like try to ask them questions about English because I wasn't fluent. And I want to be like that teacher for students that don't know the proper English, or for them to feel comfortable enough to ask me questions about everything. That's why I decided to join, and hopefully I can be a teacher one day.
You want to go out last if you want.
Oh,
as a
okay.
teacher.
I mean, I can. Okay. My name is Olivia. I'm here at Liberty. I'm in 11th grade. I really want to teach secondary English, or I want to do 5th or 6th grade elementary. I work a lot with University of Iowa Wildlife Campus. I volunteer with them in the summer. This summer I did 320 hours of volunteer with them. I just really like kids at such a young age, and like being able to like help like create who they are as like a person and help them find like what they're passionate about like in life is really like pretty and nice, and I like it. And that's what a lot of teachers did with me, and I kind of want to do that for somebody else. So this opportunity is really good for me, and this is one of the best districts in the state. So if I can get an opportunity to work here, that's also great.
My name is Nam. I'm a senior here at Liberty, and I want to be a biology teacher at the secondary level. The reason why I want to be into teaching is because over my time in the ICCSD district, I've had a lot of teachers that have really impacted me in a very powerful way. Even like during COVID when I was in online school, I had a very good teacher, his name was Mr. Enyart, and I was just able to relate to him, and it didn't feel like that kind of barrier, even though that we were talking through a screen. I feel like I was still able to relate with him and still connect with him, and I thought that was pretty important. Also, but another reason why I want to be a teacher is just to pay it forward as well to the next generation of students, because also at the same time, there are many teachers that are African American males as well in the teaching field. So I want students to be able to see themselves in me and be able to relate more to them.
Hi, I'm Ms. Ruiz. I teach at West. I'm a Spanish teacher. And so I'm going to be helping students at West, but also just working with the other schools. And I'm really excited because I wish that I had something when I wanted to be a teacher. I graduated from the University of Iowa in 2019, so I'm a recent graduate. And there's a lot of things a lot of opportunities that we're going to bring to these students that, again, I wish that I had known or had access to. Like, I'm super excited for them to have college visits and to see like different campuses that they might be interested in, for us to have conversations about what teaching is and like what it takes to teach in a classroom, to talk about the different topics in education right now, whether it's diversity, like how do we bring in social emotional learning. Like, I'm super excited to have those conversations with them because it's something that like right now as a teacher, like I'm learning about as well, and I'm putting into practice in my classroom. And so I'm excited for them to engage in that type of discussion. But yeah, I'm just really excited for them and to see what will happen.
I'm Michelle Curry. I am an English teacher and an instructional coach at Tate High School, and I think that this club is the most important thing I do every day. I'm gonna cry. Okay. I teach a lot of students who sometimes don't see themselves as students or have learned how not to see themselves as students, much less as teachers. So when I had 4 bright smiling faces climb into the van yesterday, so excited to go to, they didn't even know where, and learn about how to be a teacher, I just can't express to you what that meant to me. And what was even more powerful was listening to them on the way home. They were so excited to have the opportunity to get to talk with other students, to get to see other teachers, to get to watch Kim Fitton's story on the big screen and see Carmen run this amazing show yesterday. I just think that the most important thing we can do for our community is to serve our community in all the ways that help us serve them and them stay here. So on behalf of my students and on behalf of myself, I just want to thank everyone involved in making this possible for our kids. It's just so important.
Well, I think a round of applause. That's all we had, so we'll just open up for questions. If you have questions for us or for the students.
I don't have any questions. I'm just really excited because I wholeheartedly agree that in order for our kids to make a difference going forward, they have to put themselves out there so the next generation can see teachers that have similar backgrounds as they do, or that looks like them, or that can help them along the way in areas that they needed help in when they were a kid. So I'm excited that we have so many of you guys willing to sign up for the program and potentially make that commitment to come back home to Iowa City and be one of our teachers to touch the lives of a kid that potentially was maybe even in your elementary school or your high school. So thank you, and thank you to our teaching volunteers as well as Carmen and Eric for getting this program up and running. I know you all put a lot of heart and soul into it, and I have to admit I learned something new because I know Kim Fitton, but I did not know she was a product of the district. But watching the video today, I'm like, oh my goodness, I learned something new. So thank you.
I would just say, I really hope you guys do end up coming back. I'm reiterating what President Malone said. You guys, I can tell you already have something special in you, and teaching takes something special. And a lot of people do have an instinct that they want to be teachers when they're young. It's not like a lot of other jobs. You're kind of made to do it. And so I just really hope you guys come back when you're done with this.
What, you said there's a class. What's that? Like one class a trimester? Is it a year long or going to be? What's that look like?
So we have an Educators Rising curriculum that has 7 standards in the curriculum. And so throughout the year, if you go to the website, we don't have it up to date, we're going to show it to you. If you go to the website, under the ground student page, you should be able to see the pictures of the students who were there yesterday, but then also on, there's a button of like get involved. It has a student manual, so it's a PDF document, and in the student manual you'll see the 7 standards and how they'll be broken down per month. So the students, when they meet with their sponsors during that, there's 30-minute intervention block that we have in all the schools. And so they'll meet with their sponsors during that time, once or twice a week, and they'll run through it. So for right now, like for example, for the month of October, the topic is understanding the profession. So yesterday we spent pretty much all day understanding the profession of teaching and what it entails, and went through different things about what a good teacher is and what a great educator looks like, and talk about the different issues that they will face in education, went through different scenarios of like, if this were to happen in your classroom, what would you do? And so talking through those different situations with them. So that was one of the activities we did yesterday, and then they'll continue that for the month of October, and then transition into, they'll really be placed in those classes in November. And then during November, then next month, November, is understanding your students. And so they'll be working on how to build relationship, SEBH, social emotional, building relationship with students, what a safe classroom looks like, what do you do to create spaces for your students, and they'll be digging into those conversations like that. So every month, there's a different topic that is aligned to a standard through Educators Rising.
Nice. Yeah, I also am just really excited that you guys are doing this. It's, I mean, I'm a teacher, so I'm biased. That I love it. I love the profession, but it's I like what Director Pilcher-Hayek said, that it's sometimes I've called it a calling or something that I wanted to do at a young age, and it's just exciting that we have this opportunity that you can explore that at this time and really I think be ahead of the game when you do get to a teacher prep program, and you're going to know a whole lot more than your colleagues in those programs just from this experience. So thanks for being a part of it, and yeah, it's really exciting.
I just want to echo what everyone else has said, how impressed I am with the students here today. One question I had, I was really curious about the competitions that you mentioned. What's involved with the competition?
So there's a bunch of topics. I can't list them all off, but they are on that student manual.
Okay.
So if you go in, but there's a bunch of topics that they can choose. And so once they pick a topic, it's really presentation. So they'll stand up and present for like 3 minutes about their topic, and then open up to questions afterwards. But it's a formal presentation that they do at the conferences. And so Amira Nash and I went to the conference in DC this summer to present about our program and the pathways. And so we're able to see the competitions that the students were doing, so we can have an idea of how to prepare our students better for next year. But it really does help them to really, it's all public speaking. And so they just kind of go through that public speaking piece, and then they're rated through a rubric on how well they present, and then also how well they respond to the questions that are given.
I wonder if it would be possible for some of the students to come back and give their presentation when they're ready. It's a great idea.
Look, and none of them shy away from that.
Molly, if you don't mind.
No.
I want to join the other board members in really expressing our delight that you've chosen to undertake this, and you're choosing to prepare yourself for a teaching career. As I'm sure most of you know, including your teachers and your program directors, this board just recently sent a message to the state legislature in regard to the legislature's teaching program, and we basically told them to stop doing what they're doing. So, Mike, I wonder if you might want to tell us, one, if we should be telling the legislatures other things, and two, if what the legislature is doing is interfering with your career aspirations and desires. No, I know I'm not supposed to be asking you questions and things like that.
No, I think that's a really good question, actually. And I've been talking to my AP Lit teacher, Miss Leeser. She's new to the district, but I really like her. This is her second year. About like these like bigger topics in education. And I think it does have like an effect on my want to go into education. I still want to. I still think it's a really good career path to go down, and it's really rewarding if you do go down it. But it's really affecting where in the country I want to go into that. So it's either this district for me or the Pacific Northwest area, like out in Oregon or Washington. So different regions for me are like kind of out based on like what new legislation is doing, because I really don't see myself as a young teacher being able to work in some of the conditions that are being set out.
Thank you. Any others?
I was gonna say the same thing similar to what she said last time. That I really don't want to be like a young teacher, like she said, and stuff like completely like changing. And not like having, I should say, like not like a source of knowing what's happening sometimes, because you need to know what's happening to help others understand, kind of, you could say, understand what's happening. And if you don't understand it yourself, how am I supposed to help other kids that are interested into the teaching career and stuff like that? So I feel like it does kind of sometimes affect the like legislature. Sorry, I can say the word. Don't worry. Legislature.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
It is.
Let's go around.
We all
the room.
struggle.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah, just kind of off of what they've been saying, I just think communication is a big part of that, is because I feel like most of the things that are said, teachers are kind of left in the dark and have to go and deal with the consequences after the fact. I feel like if they were kind of given a more of a warning, they would be able to prepare themselves, and also, like how she was saying, as apply that to their students as well, so they're not having to kind of think on the fly in a way, and be able to still apply that to them, and then also make new plans and stuff.
If someone would have asked me that question when I was in high school, I would have been like, I didn't understand anything.
Right.
So you guys just nailed it.
So not only do we like you being in it, but when Charlie, you threw that out, I was like, oh boy.
I would have
I'm
no
like,
idea. So good for you
that's
guys.
right. These are the Iowa City students.
Yeah.
That's great.
I had the greatest confidence that all of you would respond.
I promised them that they'll be out of here in 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah. We do appreciate you guys staying late on a school day and hanging out with us and sharing your excitement about the teaching profession. So thank you. And to our teacher sponsors too. I know we extended your day. You're more than welcome to stay for not just starting. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's pizza.
Yes.
So I'll just share, thank you again to Carmen and the team, and we're gonna come back, I think, through Ops Committee in February or March, to talk about one of our other strengths, the stat to teacher pipeline as well, because we're doing great things there, and we're seeing dividends there as well. But one comment before you move on, just sitting here listening to students, we started this conversation in earnest with the board back in February 2019, and I put this presentation together and we tried to talk through it. And I have to admit, even at that time, as I knew how it was going to work in my head, it was still hard to visualize it. But just now seeing the students talk to us, it comes all together. So just my sincere thank you, because it was a long time in the making. It took the board's investment and believing in our team's vision about how this would work out in the work. And so hearing the little student talk, the young woman speak about how she wants to come back and talk EL in our district, that was so poignant for me this evening. And I was like, okay, that's why we did this. Like, in a person right there, really at the heart of why we're doing this work. And just thank you so much for your trust in us as we put that out there. Because nobody brought it up, but remember, if they go through, we're guaranteeing them a job. It's not come apply for us, it's come back, and we're gonna put them in classrooms. So that takes trust from the top.
Yeah,
So
you know,
thank you.
here's the thing I like about that, Chase. A lot of times these, you know, when I've seen them, they'll guarantee you an interview, and they won't guarantee a job. And you know, that's a risk we would take too, right? But when you hear these students articulate a question like that, one, that they're aware of what's going on in the legislature, unlike most folks, right? It's, you get a lot of confidence that, yeah, right, we're gonna guarantee you a job, like, please come work here. Like, we really, so, yeah, it's exciting.
Well, and back to Chase's statistic at the beginning, I think it just underscores the importance of having to do this work with kids in our district, because most people that look at Iowa from outside right now, not gonna be a place. I mean, we
Right.
already were a struggle, you know, before the political narrative changed, and now the political narrative is not appealing for a lot of folks, and so that makes it especially important to recruit and retain this talent here, and embracing the responsibility to train them up and provide them that job. That's why we should feel confident in offering a job, right? had our hands, next to theirs for this whole training period, working with our district and then the University of Iowa, and we should feel very confident by that time that they could step in and be successful in our classrooms. So that's the work I think we have to do. We're not going to be recruiting those folks from across the country to Iowa because they're moving for public ed, right? I mean, that's just not the reality. They may move for a different reason, that they end up here with a spouse or something, but as far as trying to really make a dent in our progress, this is where it has to happen.
But they can move here because of public ed here.
In Iowa City.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So
We can continue to elevate our voice and our
Right.
narrative, right, about how Iowa City's different. I think you're exactly right, Charlie. Yep.
So I'm quite confident that the one student that said she was looking at the northeast or northwest, and this district will choose this district.
Traffic's terrible out there.
Yeah. The weather's not all that great either. So.
Okay, so the next item on our agenda is the board resolution. I don't know who got a chance to look at it. I happen to have a paper copy. Right? Does everybody have a paper copy?
I just want to throw it out there that thank you to Director Pilcher Hyatt for drafting this for us. So definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
I just would tell you the reason I put the text at the top, I considered doing that in our letter to the editor, but I think we understand why I didn't, right? I had to keep it brief. But the text itself is so confusing that I want people to see it wherever they see it and then have it trigger in their memory when they see it on a ballot, because everyone gets ballot anxiety. Well, most people get ballot anxiety. I do. I go in and I haven't seen this before. So this language is so confusing, and if you can read it 10 times, you're still thinking, what the hell? This is the Second Amendment, right? So that's why I decided to keep it in there. I tried to keep it otherwise brief. I also tried to not use any detail or editorializing that would be difficult for any person on our board to respond to. So I kept a lot of things out. But if anyone has questions about the statements in it, we can talk that out now. What I'm saying is I used the safest language.
Did I ask you what you kept out for me? Or you don't want to talk about that?
I don't know. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I really liked all the language. Thank you for putting it together. These things are really hard to write. You look at it and you think, oh, this is easy, and it's not. It's incredibly difficult to write that. For anyone who's listening later, I think it's really important that we do this because there's such a nexus between this ballot measure and our ability to keep our schools safe. If we're talking about impacting ability to regulate firearms, that could impact our ability to regulate firearms on our campuses and to keep students safe. And that's why I think it's so important that we get into this issue and take a stand about what our position is. It just, to me, is directly related to what we as the Board of Education does in the district. So thank you.
Yeah. The second to last paragraph is keeping students, teachers, and staff safe from the threat of gun violence. President Malone, I'm still getting used to everybody calling each other by that. You guys can call me Maka if you want, or Pilcher Hayek's a mouthful. Anyway, I took that language from the February resolution to keep it consistent.
Yep.
I mentioned you because you're the one who brought that one to the board, at least as I understand it. So I just thought, why not continue that narrative of this is why we're doing it? It keeps our teachers, students, and staff safe.
Yep, I agree. I mean, I didn't have a problem with this. So,
Do we need a motion to do something with it? What are we doing with it? We're adopting it?
And I would move that we adopt what's written as the draft resolution, but we adopt it in its entirety without any changes.
I would second.
Any discussion about that?
Well, again, I owe a deep debt of gratitude to Maka for Director Pilcher for putting a good deal of work and thought and effort and her soul and her heart sold into this.
Well, I like my friends to own me, so. Oh, okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
We're gonna do roll call.
Well, is there
vote.
any more discussion? Are we ready for a roll call vote?
Ready?
Abraham,
In favor?
Clausen,
In favor?
Eastham,
In favor.
Finch,
In favor?
Pilcher Hayek,
In favor.
Malone,
In favor?
Williams.
In favor.
Motion carries.
Yay.
So so I will get it finalized to remove the watermark and give it to you?
Perfect,
Is that what I
yep.
do? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, and the last item on the agenda is the agenda setting for the next education meeting.
Yeah, and so how we've typically handled that, Brady and team, we usually collaborate, and then we've talked to JP kind of about what we see as several agenda items moving forward, and so we'll work with
Okay.
Director Abraham here on what those topics could look like, and then of course, if you guys have any input on things you'd really like to see, we'd be happy to take those in too, but otherwise we'll work with the ICA on that, and then work with Molly on trying to set some times going forward. We won't have one in November because we've shifted the meeting schedule, so the next time we will meet will be December.
Anything else? I have a question. I have a feeling it's a dumb one. Do we have these meetings? I've been to 2 here. Do we have them at Weston City too?
And at elementary schools.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
do?
we've done
Yeah,
it.
Wait, I've had been to maybe one of those.
So I think the idea, one, was to get us out in buildings, and then this one is more across buildings, but sometimes we might be at a building where they're doing a specific program, and we would be at that building just to, and the principal might give us some feedback, tell us what's going on with their specific ELL program or.
Great.
When we've done them at elementary, we've started earlier at 4 to try to capture the staff and
Oh.
if,
Yeah,
the
'cause they get
staff
out
that would
earlier.
be there. So again, we'll kind of work with Molly and you guys about if a 4 o'clock start is ever necessary and if it works for people. I know that could be a challenge for JP getting down from Cedar Rapids, which was part of the reason to not continue as chair, I know. So, but when it's secondary, then it's usually a 4:30 start. We try to go kind of every other, so we'll potentially look for a more elementary focused topic next time, but no guarantees on that. So,
Great.
yeah,
So when and where is the next one?
we don't know yet. Yeah.
Oh, we don't know.
When will be December.
No location yet.
No dumb
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah. No, it's
We don't
all
know
right.
the date,
Yeah, we're
even
still
if
getting
not
back in
the-
the routine.
Okay.
It'll be
We
the
know the
third
date.
Tuesday in December.
It's the 20th.
Yes.
That's what I
Yep.
wanted to know. Okay.
So December 20th will be the
Woo!
next one, location and
So
topic
close to
be
Christmas.
determined.
Wait, is that the day before break
No.
starts?
No.
Oh, okay.
Break is weird this year.
Brady like, no, I
Conversation about
Don't get
all
me
the way
started.
to the 22nd or 23rd. Yeah.
When's the last day of school before break?
23rd.
Sorry if you just said it, I just didn't hear. 23, huh?
Yeah, people are really,
Friday.
really happy about it.
Dang!
Lots of time.
I heard it's Brady.
Get ready for
Let the record know that I said dang.
Yeah.
23rd.
Don't worry,
Okay.
we're 3 weekends.
Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn the meeting? I move.
So, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?